Hi, and welcome to the Diamond Report for Thursday, May 18th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. It's currently 11:52 p.m. and we're looking at Earthquake 3D, the last 48 hours worth of earthquakes globally, and we're going to keep this earthquake update very short tonight. Not a whole lot new to report, really. Lots of new 4s and 5s globally. This magnitude 5.2 up here in the Aleutian Islands is one of the bigger, newer quakes, but as last night, also this night, we have 0 new 6.0s. So that is interesting. I guess our little CERN experiment, CERN restart experiment that happened on May 8th must have come to an end, because we had a total of, I think it was 9 magnitude 6s or larger over a period of about 7 days, 8 days or so. And as of today, we have mostly kind of, I would say, standard pressure transfer from one place to another. I'm not seeing a lot of new information that's really that pertinent. Deep quakes, sort of where we normally would see deep quakes, most of them are 4s to 4.5s. There's a magnitude 5 south of New Zealand. That's a little unusual. You know, most of the quakes around New Zealand are swarms of 2s and 3s. You might get a 4, so this is a 5 south of New Zealand. But again, not a lot of extra activity that we wouldn't ordinarily expect. So let's move on to the headlines. Legal expert Jonathan Turley says Comey memo offers no proof for impeachment of Trump. No one knows what was actually written in Comey's notes. And that, of course, is assuming that Comey's notes is even real. And I would say it's highly suspect at this point. This story's on Information Liberation. Deputy AG, Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, stabs Trump in the back, basks in media praise. That's also on Information Liberation. The Trump army is taking the names of the treasonous Republicans that are suggesting Trump should be impeached. That's from Michael Snyder of Into the American Dream. Now that they smell blood, a number of treasonous Republicans are openly talking of impeaching Donald Trump, even though there is no evidence that he has committed any crimes. With that, I fully agree with them. Trump under siege. More than 60% of NSC employees placed by Obama. The source said there are whole departments at the NSC with only one Trump appointee, the NSC being the National Security Council. That's on Breitbart. Former DOJ spokesman, Comey is trying to take down Trump. Comey may have preemptively constructed obstruction of justice case against Trump. That's on the Daily Caller. In the big news of the day, Roger Ailes dead at 77. Widow Elizabeth Ailes issues exclusive statement to the Drudge Report. MS-13 decapitated in largest gang raid in LA history. Law enforcement conducted 50 simultaneous pre-dawn raids. That's on Breitbart. Reuters admits, quote, no evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia. Report completely demolishes left's Russia conspiracy narrative. Report, Kim preparing for cruise missile strikes. North Korea very aware of the U.S. attack on Syria. That's on Yonhap News. Trump says this is the single greatest witch hunt. No politician in history has been treated worse or more unfairly. I think he's probably right about that. At least no politician in recent history. Ah, but Trump isn't a politician, right? He's a businessman. Flashback, Matt Drudge warned #NeverTrump Rinos prepping for President Pence. I said this yesterday. Media pioneer foreshadowed party betrayal. Police department stocking up on riot gear in preparation for Summer of Rage. Demand for gas masks, rubber bullets, and protective armor soars. Defeating the deep state coup d'etat. Counterintelligence step number 1, change the subject. This is from Jerome Corsi. Kucinich says the deep state is trying to destroy the Trump presidency. They seem to be having some success in that regard. Net neutrality activists demand FCC ban on Drudge Report and Infowars. Protesters demand the regulation of online speech. Yes, that's true. They demand regulation of anyone who disagrees with them. Breaking, Comey caught committing perjury to Congress? ? Comey's May 3rd Senate testimony contradicts reported February memo. New video game concept to expose the New World Order. Game designer fighting back against globalism by teaching youth about the NWO. Pretty clever. Soros's black versus blue war, flooding local elections with cash. Austrian town refuses to accept more refugees after migrants gang rape 15-year-old girl. Afghan and Somali men brutally assault teen. Demonstrators at FCC push Obama-era net neutrality censorship with ban Drudge and ban Infowars signs. Again, they're demanding regulation against dissenting opinions, which used to be called free speech, and of course they want to ban it. Caught, Comey lies to Congress. Former FBI Director Comey caught perjuring himself to Congress. But of course the Democrats will be fine with that because it's Comey and he's lying so that it will help get rid of Trump. So that makes it all okay in the leftists' whacked out minds. Copycat hackers planning to join global ransomware heist. Attack may have originated in the UK and cyber criminals created at least 6 variants. That's on Epoch Times. Nigel Farage warns EU Britain could walk away from negotiations if bullying continues. With some help from Google, virtual reality is about to break free from the wires. That's on Motherboard. Judicial Watch. Obama travel cost taxpayers nearly $100 million. For the Obama's family trip to Honolulu in 2016-17, the total flight costs were $2,548,602. And what did we get for all that money? U.S. forces strike pro-regime militia in Syria. U.S. Central Command set to speak on the incident. That's on The Hill. White House tells Congress it will renegotiate NAFTA. Negotiations will begin no earlier than August 16th. Also on The Hill. Chucky Schumer praises Comey memo as it contradicts congressional testimony. Former FBI Director Comey committed perjury in congressional hearing. Black UCLA students demand safe spaces, $40 million in free housing. Group claims UCLA has done nothing for minority students in recent years. That's on Campus Reform. I find that very difficult to believe. UCLA is a bastion of liberalism. Trump needs to change the subject to defeat the deep state coup. It's time for Trump to go on the offensive against the globalists. Federal prosecutor Comey obstructed justice not bringing memo to Congress. Comey has put himself in a serious legal situation. FBI has forensic evidence that ties WikiLeaks to Seth Rich. The Seth Rich murder investigation gets more and more interesting. And again, I went on the record yesterday stating that Seth Rich was Vince Fostered. I believe it was the Clinton re-election team, the Clinton, soon-to-be Clinton administration, that took care of Seth Rich to shut him up. They knew he was the leaker, and they took care of him. They Vince Fostered him. It's very clear to anybody who pays even just a slight bit of attention. Dodd-Frank has crippled our economic recovery. This bill will unleash real growth again. That's on Daily Signal. What are macronutrients? This is from Dr. Edward Group. The ultimate goal of any good diet is to fuel your day-to-day activities while keeping yourself properly nourished. Telling pregnant women not to drink now is sexist as deemed by, quote, liberal authority. Feminists wish to dispel science showing drinking creates terrible birth defects in children. I think the birth defect is called liberalism. And Infowars Nightly News, Roger Ailes passes and the Democrats dance on his grave. Tolerant left celebrates the death of media mogul. Don't you find the timing of Roger Ailes' passing very suspicious? I know I do. Deutsche Bank sued for running an international criminal organization in Italian court. That's on Zero Hedge. Financial crash warning. Markets to be hit by triple collapse, worse than 2008 crisis. World War III fears. Kim Jong-un on alert as South Korean military heads to border with the North. North Korea ready for World War III. Army builds protective walls during Kim Jong-un missile panic. Mike Flynn refuses to honor Senate subpoena. World War III boiling. China lodges formal complaint with USA over Iran ballistic missile tests. California Governor Jerry Brownshirt, which of course is short for Nazi, slams taxpayers as, quote, freeloaders for opposing higher taxes. This is California he's talking about here. One of the most taxed and regulated states, probably in not only the United States, but one of the most taxed and regulated places in the whole world. It's on shtfplan.com. U.S. strike force destroys North Korea's nuclear weapons in major combat drill. That's on Daily Star. ISIS collecting WMD horde capable of killing millions, U.S. claims. Breaking, North Korea just proved they're ready to hit Alaska with what they just did. That's on prepperfortress.com. Kim Jong-un says the U.S. is a den of evils that should be wiped off the face of the earth as early as possible. An X-22 report, battle will only get worse. The end will be a disaster either way. Late Justice Antonin Scalia believed Obama was spying on SCOTUS. 44th president 100 times worse than Nixon. That's on Natural News. I totally agree. I think 100 might be a small number when you're talking about comparing Obama to Nixon. Nixon wasn't that bad a guy. Mainstream media conspiring with Google to rig all search results and silence dissenting views. Google becomes fake search. That's on Natural News. I think Google's been fake search for some time. ISIS working on new generation of explosives that could be hidden in computers and evade airport scanners, as Europe ponders ban on laptops on flights to U.S. And of course that will stop absolutely zero terrorism. It never does. And all they really do is train us to become slaves. Forbes says if GOP lawmakers don't pass tax relief, they will lose House and Trump will be impeached. That's on Gateway Pundit. And on Zero Hedge, speeding vehicle strikes pedestrians on Times Square sidewalk. At least one person dead and driver in custody. Segregated. White students banned from student lounge at D.C. University. Quote, nothing more important than being a multicultural campus. That's on shtfplan.com. Of course, multicultural means everything except white people. That's what they really mean. North Korea accuses U.S. of plot to assassinate Kim Jong-un. That's on the Express. Big one warning, New Zealand in store for extreme earthquake as fault lines collide. That's on the Express. I would only partly agree with that. We cover some of that in the Diamond Report earthquake update. If you want more information on what's really going on in New Zealand, definitely follow Dutch Sense in his YouTube channel or also on Twitch. Alert, officials warn of more collapses at U.S. nuclear site. High spikes in radiation levels recorded. An expert says plutonium could go airborne. Major concern over radioactive releases. Government delays revealing data to public. That's on enenews.com. And speaking of radiation concerns, I would highly recommend buying a handheld radiation detector. I've bought one here. It's called a SOEKS, S-O-E-K-S. I believe it's Russian made. Here's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see it. I've got it There you can see that the radiation level where I'm at is green right now. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was a couple $100. But it does this, and it also tests nitrates in foods. So it's a double duty type of little detector. Very handy to have in case radiation levels are higher than you're told. At least you can look at it yourself and know for sure. U.S. military warns space is now a warfighting domain. That's on Breitbart. From the CanadaFreePress.com, Dems say give us Trump's head or we'll bury you and your country. Children as young as 5 are being sold to pedophiles by their own mothers in the Philippines. Shocking TV investigation reveals. Mount St. Helens is recharging. Swarm of earthquakes detected deep below the volcano nearly 40 years after deadly eruption. America's Civil War II. That's from Sputnik News. Comey admits under oath that obstructions to investigations, quote, never happened. That's on Zero Hedge. And from SHTFplan.com, flashback video. In 1998, Maxine Waters called impeachment a coup d'etat and an unapologetic disregard for the voice of the people, which of course is what she's calling for today. Here are 12 times liberal Democrats refused to impeach Barack Obama after he broke the law. X22 report Stephen Lendman says the deep state is doing everything in their power to remove Trump. GOP, Steve Bannon is right about the fight to save America. That's on Breitbart. How military-industrial complex is pushing U.S. towards new missile crisis. That's on Sputnik News. 5 major revelations Lapdog Media is covering up with fake Russian hysteria. That's on ActivistPost.com. Breaking news, NYPD rules out terrorism in Times Square collision that left 22 injured and 1 dead, as suspect is revealed to be ex-military Bronx man with history of drunk driving who drove up sidewalks for 3 blocks after smoking pot. Ah, that makes sense now. They'll go after pot smokers now because obviously if you smoke pot, you're going to get in your vehicle and drive down the sidewalk and start running people over. Trump advisors reportedly urged him to hire outside lawyer. That's according to the New York Times. Sweden inches closer to cashless society as churches and homeless now accept plastic. Yes, that's right. The homeless can now accept plastic. Why is the government building tunnels on private farmland? That's from Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. Will there be a civil war if Trump is impeached? That one's also from Dave Hodges. I wanted to kill them. You were supposed to kill me. Drug-crazed driver who plowed into pedestrians on the sidewalk in Times Square for killing 1 and injuring 22 tells cops he planned a murder-suicide spree. U.S. deploys 2nd aircraft carrier towards the Korean peninsula. Chinese fighter jets conduct unprofessional inverted intercept of U.S. radiation detector over Yellow Sea. Inside the U.S. government's plan to survive nuclear war while the rest of us die. Yes, of course, that's the plan. That's why they have all these DUMBs, these deep underground military bases. Look it up on YouTube. There's an excellent report from Timothy Alberino who talks about DUMBs, deep underground military bases. You can find that report on the Gen 6 YouTube channel, Gen 6 Productions YouTube channel. North Korea's missiles can strike the U.S. and all options have failed, ex-U.S. official says. West Coast seismic alert, 2 Alaskan volcanoes erupt as earthquake swarms at Mount St. Helens raise concerns. That's by Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. I think to really understand what's going on with the Alaskan volcanoes and the Mount St. Helens questions, definitely go check out Dutch Sense's channel. He has a good handle on that stuff. Map of death. North Korea missile targets revealed in chilling battle plan. That's on the Daily Star. CyberKid shocks experts. Anything on Wi-Fi can be weaponized. David Brock memo reveals Democrats plan to impeach Trump to avenge Hillary. Documents reveal elite planned to neutralize Marine Le Pen. I think they were successful at that. X-22 report, coup d'etat has begun, which will divide America. The deep state's political coup. A special prosecutor means the 2018 elections are life or death for the Trump presidency. That one's from Michael Snyder of Into the American Dream. Pat Buchanan says it isn't Watergate yet, but how long can this sustain? I will say there is a valid comparison between the blood in the water atmosphere of this city now and the blood in the water atmosphere of 1973-74 after March of 73. Impressive flash floods engulf TAIF. Huge dust storm changes day into night in Saudi Arabia. Weather wars have come to the Arabian Peninsula. That's on strangesounds.org. From All News Pipeline, why this man's visions from God 30 years ago are more relevant today than ever. The pieces have all fallen into place before our very eyes. We could witness 90% of Americans die as a result of a prolonged power outage due to a grid that gets hacked. The all-seeing eye of destruction. Google creates image recognition AI for your smartphone. It's on ChristianTruther.com. Get rid of your smartphone, people. It is not good to have those things. I got rid of mine 2 years ago and haven't missed it once. Time for Grandpa Crawford's lesson. The duly elected President of the United States and the constitutional structure of our government are under attack by traitorous criminals in both wings of the Washington Party. Yeah, I call them the Globalist Party. Open Sesame Particle Accelerator Project brings Middle East together. In a region racked by conflict and tension, an ambitious research center is fostering cooperation and scientific advancement. That's on The Guardian. The crisis in Venezuela deepens. U.S. and UN threaten to intervene. Is a similar crisis coming to America? That's on ChristianTruther.com. From the Daily Mail, from artificial auroras to radiation belts around Earth, Cold War-era nuclear tests spurred dramatic space weather events. Okay, that's all for the Diamond Report today. Thanks for listening and watching. If you would, please share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, Diamond Report Facebook page, and also my YouTube channel, which is just Diamond Disc, youtube.com/Diamond Disc. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do that. I do have ads running on my videos, but they're getting demonetized almost as instantly as I put them up. So I put up a video and then within minutes, a lot of times it's demonetized. I haven't seen a penny from any monetization yet on any videos, so I'm not doing this for money though anyway. I'm doing it mostly to raise awareness and to make it convenient for people to be able to turn on these reports and spend 20 or 30 minutes listening to the headlines of the day, and hopefully it'll help people understand what's going on and they don't have to do a lot of extra research themselves if they don't have time. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.